Shalom Rastafari, Assalamu alaikum, peace to the kings and the queens on the earth. You know, I always want to give a big thank you to everyone supporting and listening, even if it's just 1 or 20 or 30. Getting a lot of good reviews, so I appreciate it. Today, though, is story time, man. Story time. I'm going to start making every Wednesday drop story time of my life, or some stories that I've been through, or maybe some stories other people have been through. So today is going to be personal. I'm going to be talking about what happened to me in NFL Europe, the baseball bat to the face tragedy, so to speak. I can laugh at it now, but it was a pretty serious situation. So if you have something to drink, maybe a coffee, maybe a tea, if you're up this morning and you want to spliff, or maybe you want to play this, if you got it on YouTube, and you want to just play this to a point where you can sit back and smoke. I appreciate the love of all the guys. They say this is perfect smoking meditation type of material. So I really appreciate that. So if you got something there, I suggest you get it out now, because it's going to be a serious story, man. It's things that happened in my life, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everything that's happened in my life. You know, I've got to that point in my life that, you know, I think as of last year especially, nobody really feels sorry for you but your loved ones, and you need to make everything that happens to you a situation where you can conquer it, you can transfer it into some better energy, you can learn from it, and maybe you can even help others from it. You know, sometimes the universe, Allah, God, Jehovah, it puts you in that situation to, you know, you're a witness to the Creator's greatness. That's literally what it is. And, you know, it makes you out to be a better person. So let's start off, man. Let's go back to 2005. 2005. I am signed with the Minnesota Vikings football team out there in Minnesota. At this time, some of you remember that there was an NFL Europe League also. It was pretty much the minor league of the NFL. And I'm kind of sorry that it went away. But, you know, when the NFL talks about money, that's pretty much what that was. So 2005, though, at this time, there was a pretty solid minor league. A lot of players who were just, you know, third stringers who wanted to get more playing time, practice squad players, things like that. They literally were allocated by some teams. So basically you're signed with the Minnesota Vikings, and then they send you over to NFL Europe to play, you know, 10 games, get you some tape, maybe get you some film, also get you some skills, get you some gameplay, things like that. So it was a pretty good situation, solid situation. I'm not going to get into detail as far as the facilities and stuff like that. 2005, again, in the NFL, people have to understand, was going through a different commissioner also, right? So things were, you know, different, and the money was just changing over from like the digital and the streams and the TV contracts and the guaranteed contracts. So 2005 was kind of the end of a financial era in the NFL. So it was kind of like they were kind of hanging on and just doing traditional things, but you can tell a change was coming. But anyway, you're in NFL Europe, and I was. At first, I had gotten an eye infection during training camp, so I had to spend about maybe 4 to 6 weeks in Alabama. Even though I was completely cleared, I had to sit there and train and wait for my team to make room for me, and they did. They put me on practice squad, and this is the Frankfurt Galaxy out there in Frankfurt. So, you know, being in Germany, the positive things about that, I am now a World War II fanatic because of these things that I've seen over there. So I'll be doing podcasts about that too. But so now I'm in Frankfurt. I'm just gotten there maybe 3 or 4 weeks into the season, and I'm on the practice squad. I'm just playing, and then finally that team trades me because they want me to get some playing time also to a city called Cologne, which is the Cologne or Rheinfire, which is actually what's right outside Cologne. So this city called, you know, wasn't a bad team. They had pretty good facilities. Excuse me. The culture of the team, though, was different. They, at that point, I think the team that I got transferred from had won 3 or 4 games. They had won like 2. So it was kind of like, you know, different culture, different individual shit. Just things that, you just don't know. Things are just very, very weird, when you get to a season where, you're not going to go to the World Bowl. So you just got there developing. So it's just kind of like an open culture. The head coach at that time had no control really over the team, whatever. So we're going out and, we're told not to go to this club on one night, but everyone's going to it anyway. This club is called Checkers, like Checkers nightclub. It was owned by a Turkish mafia group or whatever. So in this area, in German, it translates to Old City. And in this place, it's like just a boardwalk where you really can. I don't think you can drive down there through there. I think you drive around it and you walk through, but it's called Old City, and it's probably about, at that time, it'd be like 25 or 30 bars in this one area. So it's like a strip, right? And then outside that strip is a little shopping area where Checkers was involved, like where they were at. And it was on the second floor of this shopping area, which was like an outside shopping area, right? Like an outside mall where it's just storefronts and then, that you walk outside. So they had a place like that was kind of like on the second floor. So I'm just kind of like trying to give you guys the background here. So they had a place like that. So, we've gone out plenty of times. I've been to that club plenty of times, and I actually had good rapport with people, even the security there. It was pretty cool. Never had an issue going in there at all. Now, at this time in Germany, some clubs didn't just take cash right away. What they would do is you walk in the club, they give you a punch card, okay? And that punch card those were your drinks. So instead of you paying cash, you order, they punch your card, and then when you leave, that's when you pay, right? And it's one way in, one way out. So I wouldn't try to finesse that system because there's cameras everywhere, even in 2005. So, and no one ever did, right? Except for this one. So it's a normal night. We're getting ready to go. A bunch of the guys, we stopped at Louisiana's, and, we're about like 15 deep, maybe 10 deep. And we have this guy and I think two of the teammates, or one or two of them had their wife with them at the time, mind you. And another one I think she just came with the group. So it was like two females with us and about 15 guys. We pull up to Checkers, and I see that it seems like they were waiting for us, right? Because when we walk up the stairs and we're getting ready to walk into the door, they're blocking it already with a little bit of a miniature gate. And they have, all these small, about 5'8", 5'9" Turkish people sitting there. And these guys were like fighters who would train at the gym. So they weren't really that big of a size, but they could fight. I'd say about 8 or 9 of them were just out there. And, they're talking in kind of Turkish and German at the same time. I knew German at the time, too, so I kind of knew what they were saying. And like, there they go, here's that guy. So they stop, and then, we come up to the gate, and one of the guys kind of speaks, and he comes to the front of the garage like, all you guys can come in, you guys are fine. But that guy right there, he points to one of our teammates. He goes, that guy cannot come in because last time he didn't even pay his fucking tab. So he's not allowed up in here. So, of course, we looked at him like, what the fuck's your problem? Like, what's going on? And Chaz Moore is his name, and I'll never forget his name, was with his wife also, right? Mind you. So that's the guy they point out saying, Chaz, you can't come in here, you didn't pay your tab. So instead of him saying, I'm sorry, that's a mistake, maybe I was drunk, here's the money, or, you know what, sorry, we'll leave, we'll come back, or I'll leave, you guys go in, figure it out. He gets embarrassed. He gets embarrassed like a little kid that got called out on the truth. So he starts, and he's, naturally, this is why I don't drink anymore, but because most of the time I have like 75% bad things that happen when I've gotten to this level, and 25% are having good nights. So I take that ratio and kind of go with it. But he's drunk, right? So he goes off. He starts spazzing out. I pay my tab. Don't embarrass me. Like just spazzing out, going crazy. Now, mind you, I'm kind of like in the middle, and I'll go to him like, look. So finally, long story short, I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, you know what? We don't even have to come in here, and we didn't. There was literally 20 clubs up the street. We could have went back to Louisiana's. That's a fine place to go. They play good music. They love us in there. It's right up the street. We just came from there. We can go right back. No big deal. So I literally go and I'm talking a little bit in German and English to some of the guys. I'm like, look, all right, because they're blocking the like. There's only we got up to the staircase and then they kind of blocked us, like we couldn't go back downstairs, right? Because it was like in the end of the area. So I tell them like, look, we're leaving. Can y'all just move, back up? We'll leave. Like no big deal. And so they were cool. They're like, yeah. So they backed the gate up. We're getting ready to leave. And it wasn't really even intense. It was intense because he made it intense, right? I think he was just embarrassed at the time that he was 100% embarrassed that he got called out for not paying his tab. Two, I'm like, but my thing is, I would think you would be a little more calm considering your wife is there. Like you guys are from Arizona, your wife's from Tempe. She flew, hopped on a plane. I think it was a 19-hour flight to come see you for like a 4 days or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so, and Chaz was a cool dude. Me and Chaz, whatever, he was a cool dude. Like we talked and no issues before this. So we're getting ready to leave, right? We're walking out, we're getting ready to leave. And I said, look, just move the gate back, we'll leave, no big deal. A bunch of us were on the same vibe. We weren't like, okay, whatever. Like, we'll leave. We're not understanding why he's getting so mad. We do know, but it's like, yo, calm down, bro. You don't got 40 euro or something, just whatever. And we understand too, because we weren't like, we were getting paid that much, right? So I kind of like, okay, we try to get over on some people, I get it, whatever. So we leave. We're getting ready to leave. And as we're leaving, Chaz Moore, as he's walking by, decides to spit on one of the guy's face. Let me repeat that. Spit in his face. Yeah. So they of course, like trying to like lunge, and then they go back, and then I see this looks like he's a Ukrainian warrior or some crazy fuck. And he's like on the other balcony, and he's like, there's like another balcony attached to this club or something. And he's watching the entire thing. He's part of the organization. And he's yelling and screaming in German. And I knew what he was kind of saying, like, okay, we're going to be back. You're going to do that? We'll be back. And he literally commenced and told everyone to come in as we're walking out. They all went inside. They ran inside. We knew that they were coming. I'm like, they're not going to just let us do this and get away with it. Da, 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 da. So we're walking through this shopping area. Okay, we're walking through this like outdoor shopping area. There's stores on each side. I'm walking out to the street, and I feel it. Now, mind you, I'm still trying to like get all my boys, get Chaz more calmed down. They're all like we're like in the back of the crew. Like we're walking. I'm like, I look at my boy, I'm like, yo, they're gonna come, right? He's like, I know, it is what it is. Like, and we both felt it. That in that very moment, all of a sudden, I just hear and feel people running behind us. Now, mind you, during this time, they weren't punks. Like our guy, when we were arguing, like in the time where this guy was getting called out, the guy already like pulled out a samurai sword. Okay, like he didn't pull it out, but he kind of clocked it into his holster, and he kind of showed it. Like there's people who were they weren't punks. Like I don't really understand why this guy was getting so mad, because he was like, what the fuck? So they already showed that they had weapons. So as I turn around, for whatever reason, and this is just me, just because I know who I am, I know the reason. I'm just a little insane. I'm in the back of the crew, and I turn around and look like real quick, and I see about 3 people running up with bats. Now, one of them I know. Like I was talking to him the entire time. He was cool. We were like on a rapport, like, yo, we'll just leave. I told him like, we'll leave. Like, it's no big deal, bro. Just get his ass out of here. Like they were all like on this guy. So I see 3 people running with bats toward me. And instead of run, I turn to them and I stop. I literally stop. And I know me, because that's just the instinct that I have. One, I'm not scared really to die. I'll say that. But I'm not going to put myself in fucked up situations. But I just turned toward it like, what's up? Like, I'm not going to run because you're already on top of me anyway. Like, you know what I mean? It kind of felt like if I ran, I would have, like, they would have had to already get me. So I'm like, I might as well just turn around and defend myself. But I saw the guy who I was talking to, and he went up with a bat. He ran up and he stopped about 3 feet from me, right? Two of his boys did. They stopped. Like, they didn't swing off with the bat. I just turned around. And it was almost like they just were kind of shocked. And it was me, and literally, that was it, me. Now, mind you, there's 15 other big-ass football players, and they're taking off running. As I sit there, I see him. He kind of like is not dropping his bat, but he's not swinging. Him and his boy aren't swinging because they know I'm like a nice guy. I sat there and like, what's up, what's up? As I sit there, I see his eyes kind of go to the left of me, which would be the right on his side, but to the left. And as soon as I see his eyes go that way, I feel this massive thing on my face. Like, it goes tink. Like, it literally, I don't know if y'all ever been to a softball game or heard a softball get hit with like a big bat. And it makes like a tink sound. That's the sound of the bat hitting my fucking cranium, my face. Tink. I remember hearing it. Tink. Like, and I literally, actually, this is 100% factual. He hit me when he hit me, and I just like actually smiled. I'm like, are you serious? And I just literally, because it was almost like I could not believe I got hit in the face with a bat. And me probably being like drunk and with the adrenaline, it didn't feel pain right away. I just felt like, wow. And my body just went into the automatic like fall over mode, like right there, right? So now I'm on the ground. There's 2-3 dudes with a bat. I see the guy, even the sword, he's coming out. He's got it like out now. And they're like stomping on me. And I'm at this point where I'm like, if I'm going to die here, I'm going to die here. Like, this is what it is. People understand me personally. I'm not trying to, I'm just crazy a little bit. It's like, this was like one of those, like, you die and come back times. You know what I mean? So I was just like, whatever, kill me at that point, right? I was 2005. TJ was a pretty wild type of dude in his head. Pretty lost, pretty crazy. Just trying to figure out life at that point. What am I doing? And at that point, if I'm going to die going out like that, I'm going to die going out like that. And I literally felt that way in those seconds. And I'm seeing feet hit me, da-da-da-da. I see the sword, and I see the sword rise up. The guy's got 2 arms on it. He's about to rise up. And I see him getting ready to cut me. And I, in turn, literally am still smiling as I'm getting my ass kicked by bats and shit. And I remember, the last thing I remember is leaning my neck into him. Like, go ahead, right here. Right here. Like, I'm on the ground. I'm just like, look at him like this. Like pull my neck back. Like, go ahead and slice it. Because I don't know. Like, I'm just, this is how I'm getting down. Like, I'm going to smile. I'm going to die with a smile. I'm not going to die as a punk. And I probably was not being smart, should have ran, but whatever. Don't think that this is a tough story. Like, I'd rather be alive than be tough. Trust that. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm not. People who know me personally know that they laughing right now. They know me and they're like, you crazy. Like, the Rastafari and cannabis has saved my life. Anyway, so I'm leaning my neck toward him, and I kind of I didn't feel anything else. I just kind of blacked out, but I heard the screams from Chad Moore's wife, and I still can to this day hear that wretched scream, like she was like almost watching what was happening from the side, and I think they started chasing him too. Like, there was a bunch of people that were chasing some of the players. Like, they caught some of them, and like one of them like sliced one of their chin, got him on the chin a little bit. Literally. But I remember hearing her scream. I had nightmares about that for a while. Like, that scream, there is nothing like a female screaming when she is witnessing someone she probably loves getting hurt or chased or getting his ass whooped or getting killed. Like, there's nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a specific person in your life and someone was holding her back, and as somebody was literally beating the hell out of you to the point of death, you're quite sure she would let out a fucking scream that would never, would never ever be forgotten. I remember hearing that, and that was the last thing I heard. And apparently, one of the D linemen actually stayed there. Like, he was just in the cut, kind of saw what was happening. And this is real shit. He tackled the guy with the sword, apparently, and grabbed the sword before he could slice me. And then he picked it up, and then the guy just kind of walked, like, they kind of just like had this mutual like walk away thing. And then just like, yeah, like he just kind of like, after it was all said and done, they all ran off, and then he gave him the sword and walked away, or something like that. Or he took it and he just threw it in the trash, and the guy got it later. So it was something like that I was told. But anyway, I remember coming to, and my boys picking me up afterward, and I'm bleeding from my ears, my nose, of course. I'm bleeding from even my eyes almost a little bit. I remember them carrying me up. I'm like helpless. I'm dragging, and I remember my jaw, I could not bite down. My entire jaw was knocked out of whack, like completely just, I don't even know what happened. Like, I just couldn't even bite down. Felt like my entire right side of my face was completely out of fucking order. So I'm still probably hammered off my ass. And they're carrying me to get in the ambulance, and they're forcing me into the ambulance. I'm being funny. I don't got no insurance. I can't go in. They like fight me into the insurance. Like, I don't got no insurance. Da, da, da. And one of the females who was there was an actual nurse, and she ended up, I couldn't remember what she looked like. Sometimes I think God puts angels in your life for specific reasons. I don't know what she looked like. I don't know why, but I guess she was a certified nurse, and she's actually one of the ones that saw the entire thing. And this is going to be crucial later on, but she was one of the ones that saw the entire fucking thing happen. And so we get to the hospital, and she's like there with me, and she's like, she's telling the other ambulance, like, she's my nurse, did this, and she literally just helped me out until I got to the hospital. And then she left. I don't know what happened, but she ended up just going with me, and she made sure she told them the story also. So I get to the hospital. It's a wild night in the hospital. They're transferring me to this other German hospital. Later on that night, there's a fight because, people back in the States, they found out that I have to have surgery on my face. I had fractured my eye orbital because of the bad thing, and I had shattered some cheekbones and a couple other injuries. I remember just both my eyes being completely black, nose completely out of whack, mouth all fucked up, face swollen like shit. It was bad. I remember I had a picture of it. I think my stepsister still has that. I don't know. I had a picture of it. If I would have showed you guys that picture, it would be pretty crazy. But I did that. I had that entire thing on my face. So unfortunately, they try to keep on the low. My dad was very angry, of course, and the person who hit me in the face with a bat, we found out who that person was very quickly, and their organization actually was pretty mad about it because they all found out that they hit the wrong person. They didn't hit the guy who was doing all the shit that started it. They hit the guy who was actually being a mediator, which was me. So I'm not going to get into what happened to him, just because I'm on YouTube. But that situation was taken care of, and we'll put it that way. So basically, I had to fly in a med jet, and I was in Frankfurt. I flew in a med jet. I stopped in Iceland. I got to get out in Iceland and be like, yo, I'm in Iceland. And it wasn't like I just flew when we flew up. We like fueled up. They allowed me to go on the runway. They allowed me to kind of like walk around and just, feel the air and just second be in Iceland. I'm like, how many people from Buffalo say they've been in Iceland, right? So came from Iceland, came through Goose Bay, stopped in Toronto, and then went to Birmingham, Alabama, which is all the rehab areas that was taking care of NFL Europe. And they were just, because I was there before and I was just a pretty good guy. I didn't complain about anything they had to put me through. And so they loved me. The people at the airport, they were pissed off at this guy. If everyone found out the real story, this wasn't a hidden story. This wasn't a thing that, people were like, oh my God, how this happened. They knew what happened and knew that it was unfair. So I remember just really getting in there and going to surgery. I thought by myself, but one of the rehab ladies was there and she was just nice. She just watched ESPN and she just Literally was there. It's kind of hard when when you're in Birmingham, Alabama, and this white lady's very nice to you. Like, okay, okay. But she was super nice. And I went to surgery, and I was a 6-hour surgery. They took out my cheekbone, put plates in it. They took it out through my gums and my mouth, and then they put plates in it, and then they cut through my eye, my right side, and put plates in there too. A pretty standard, a pretty good surgery. They basically said that I was pretty blessed because it was compared to a hockey injury. Like there's hockey players who get boarded, right? And the helmet kind of slips up and they just go right smack into, you know, like the wall, and they fracture the eye orbital. It was kind of like that. I was pretty fortunate to have even more of an injury. Excuse me. So after that, that was it. I had 6 weeks to get to heal, and I was in Minnesota, and I thought that my career was over at one point. But in 6 weeks, I was cleared about 3 days before the first day of training camp, and went in there and had the best camp of my life. The best camp of my life, and ended up making the team. So, yeah, talking about bouncing back. And mentally, people are like, "Oh, did you have nightmares?" I didn't have none of that shit. I literally felt like I died and came back. And I remember 50 Cent said the same shit too when he got hit. And I'm definitely not getting hit the same way, but it's that life altering situation where you almost lose your life and you survive, and maybe you were supposed to lose your life. Now you know you're not in control. Now you know that ultimately God, the Most High, is in control. So you kind of like die and come back, and then your fear for anything is lowered by even more, because now you're just like, I don't care. I can control everything, I can do everything, but ultimately something can just happen. So why am I going to be scared of shit? And that's how I live my life still. God's in control. I'm not going to be scared. This is where I'm going to die today, so I'm going to die today. Or, that's just what it is. He has the time. So I'm not going to walk around scared. Now, I'm not also going to walk around like, I'm big, bad. No, humble situations, lions. Like, lions don't just go attack anybody they see, unless you're on the damn territory. If you're not on the territory, you know what I mean, and you're not a part of the food situation, we're not going to hunt you. But we're watching. And you never know what could happen, and never being fearful. And that's how I had to carry myself going forward. So that's my story right there, man. That's just one of the things that has happened. But it's been a wild life, I'll say that. I thought that when I before that event, I thought I went through some shit. So I got way more stories besides that, but this story, and like I said, I'm just trying to keep it, a little. I've been talking for 28 minutes. I still can go into more detail about it, still to this day. For a long time, I wanted to kill this guy Chad Moore, right? Because it was like, why the fuck, da 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 da. But he ended up getting his. He ended up getting cut from his team. He never played in the league ever again, and. If I ever met him, he probably would apologize, but I don't need an apology. You've actually, you were just part of the plan to make me better. So that's it. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. So when you see my face, just know that there's some plates in there. It's titanium plates. They don't go off when I walk through metal detectors. And they've healed pretty well. About 5 years ago was the last time I've had some issues where it got kind of, cold outside. I can feel it, but I haven't felt, I don't even know. Sometimes I forget that. I mean, I never forget that they're, to be honest with you, I never forget. But if you saw my face, you probably wouldn't know what side of the plates they were on, but they're there. They're huge. They're right under my eye and my cheeks, and, shout out to the doctors that cut inside my gums so I wouldn't have too many scars on my cheeks, you feel me? So, yeah, man, that's the story. But the lesson of that story is persevere through anything. I know tons of people listening got stories too. It might not be as hard as that one, but you got your story. And your life is your life. And sometimes little things like that or little events can reincarnate you into a different person that you're supposed to be, that phoenix, you know what I mean? Rising from the flames, rising from the ashes. It's beauty before ashes. Literally, it's beauty before ashes. That is something I live by. But thank y'all for listening. I know I've been talking for a while, man. I love y'all so much, and I hope that this is hope this can help, right? Hope this is something that y'all can reach out to or whatever. And if you need anything, let me know. One love. Talk to y'all soon.